Hi guys, I've lost 10 kilos in 10 weeks, 8 times, 8 different ways. And I'm here to share with you why the carnivore diet was one of the easiest ways that I've lost that 10 kilos and why it's fantastic for weight loss. Now, one of the biggest challenges when dieting is to stick to it, guys. Now, most diets will work for most people, provided you've got the right plan and diet plan in place. And then it comes to sticking with it, being motivated throughout the 8 to 10 week or 8 to 12 week block. I like 10 weeks. That's why I always refer to 10 weeks. And managing those cravings, in which the carnivore diet takes care of those areas. So let's look at number one, guys. Number one reason it's really good for weight loss. It's easy to follow. Now, a lot of the times, I've been a trainer, weight loss consultant for 15 years. And back in the day, I'll write out a food plan or a menu for my clients to follow based on exactly what their food requirements are and what they like to eat. However, even though it's all on paper, it's right in front of them, they still go off and eat other things that they're tempted to eat because they'll think, I'll just have a little bit of that and that won't matter too much, or I have a little bit of this and hey, that won't matter and I can make it up the next day and so on and so on. With the carnivore diet, if you're going into that particular diet and a diet that's very restrictive, it eliminates all those other temptations because they're not in the diet. You're not allowed to touch it because it will affect your outcome. So it's very simple, guys. You're eating animal products only, and that's it. There's nothing else in there. There's no carbohydrates to snack on. There's nothing like that. If you want to have a snack, you snack on bacon strips. That's it. That's your snack that you go to. The rest of the diet is comprised of meat, mainly red meats, guys. You're also allowed to have seafood in there. Fish, seafood. You're allowed to have chicken, white meats as well. So you can have those meats, but the vast majority of the time, you're going to have red meat. The next component of the diet is going to be eggs. Eggs are going to give you a hell of a lot of nutrients that you need throughout the diet. And then when you look at cooking, you're going to use butter, guys. And that's what you're going to use. You're not going to use any other oil or anything like that. You're going to use butter for your cooking. Now, the only other thing that's allowed, and this is when you want to modify the carnivore a little bit, still an animal product, but you're allowed cream in your coffee. So that's not milk, but that's cream in your coffee or tea if you're going to have coffee or tea throughout the diet period. And you're also allowed cheese, but if you want to modify it a little bit again, because that is an animal product. And then you have it, guys. That's your diet. That's all you're going to have. Meat of some sort. You're allowed eggs, cream, cheese, butter. That's it. That's all you're allowed. And so when we're creating your menu and whether it's breakfast, whether it's lunch, whether it's dinner or snacks with bacon slices that you pre-prepare the day before, that's it. There's nothing else that you need to throw into the taste or flavor or green onion or whatever it might be. That's your diet. And that's what you've got to formulate your meals around. Now, because of that diet structure, that leads us to number two. You feel fuller for longer because you're not having any carbohydrates in there, guys. You've just simply got 30 to 40% protein and you've got 60 to 70% fat, which means you're going to feel fuller for longer, guys. And that's going to stem off the cravings that you're going to be feeling through that diet period. And a big reason that people do lose a lot of weight on the carnivore diet and ketogenic diets like keto as well, we can throw that in there because it's a similar serum diet, is they often use intermittent fasting within their diet plan. And it's not always on purpose. They just, because they're fuller for longer, they tend not to have their 3 or 4 meals a day like you would on a balanced diet. So they're either missing breakfast or they're missing dinner. And so you're just eating those 2 meals per day. Like when I went through mine, I used to have breakfast at 6 a.m. and I'd have my lunch at about 2 p.m. and then I'd fast for 16 hours. And I was completely satisfied with not eating for that period of time. Because, 8 hours of that 16 hours is sleep. So I wasn't hungry when you sleep. You know, when you're sleeping, you're not hungry. And that's the big thing about intermittent fasting also. It helps you control your calories. And believe me, guys, if you eat more calories than you burn, regardless if it's carnivore, keto, whatever the macros might be, you will put on fat. So you still need to control your calories. However, and is a little bit easier on the
Guys, I've got 600 videos coming your way over the next 12 months, covering everything that you need to know to lose whatever weight you need. If you can just take 10 seconds, like, subscribe, just so you're up to date with the daily drops into YouTube. Thanks heaps, guys. Back to the video.
Now, number 3, intermittent fasting, which we've already touched on in number 2. Intermittent fasting, it's really good with the carnivore and ketogenic diets, simply because you do feel fuller for longer, which is going to help you also control your calories, because there's nothing worse than sitting down at night, having a plate of whatever it might be, rice and whatever, or pasta or whatever it might be. And then all of a sudden the cravings hit and you want to have more of it. You want a second helping. You want it, that sparks something else. What's in the cupboard? What else can I eat that's in that cupboard? When you're doing intermittent fasting, I like to eat at 6 a.m. in the morning, and I also like to eat at lunchtime. And then I'll have a fast for 16 to 18 hours, and that will get rid of all the insulin that's in my bloodstream, and it will generally make me feel lighter because there's not that excess food hanging around my stomach. Now, if you did have a little bit of an eating disorder where you do have one slice of bread, have a sandwich, and all of a sudden you're going to have 3 or 4, or half a loaf of bread, or you have a little bicky and then bang, it explodes and you've had the whole packet, they're not options for you. You don't usually overeat protein and fat. So when you're not having those carbohydrates and you're not having those sugar spikes or insulin spikes, you tend not to get those lows that are going to spark up those cravings as well. So let's say you've had your steak and eggs for dinner. You don't really feel like anything else after that. You probably don't want to have another steak or have some more eggs. It's not really something that people do. It's usually those carbs that spark, I've got to have more. Protein and fat in the carnivore diet doesn't spark that excessive eating that a lot of people experience. And how to get through those intermittent fasting cravings? Hey, I have tea and coffee. So I will have my coffee with cream when I'm on that fasting period. And that's just what I've done. And it's of no detriment to my weight loss. I've still knocked off my 10 kilos in 10 weeks. And the fourth reason, it's great for weight loss. Guys, it's going to help every single person out there lose weight. So it doesn't matter what your condition is. It doesn't matter if you're a type 2 diabetic. It doesn't matter if you've got pre-diabetes, insulin resistant. It doesn't matter if you've got IBS. It doesn't matter if you're lactose intolerant. You just simply don't have the cream portion of it. It's available to everybody, and everybody can lose the weight on it. Whereas if you look at other diets, so for example, a balanced diet or a vegetarian diet, where you've got many forms of carbohydrates throughout that diet, which is going to pose a problem if you've got those blood sugar issues, or it's going to pose a problem if you've got IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, or undiagnosed issues. You're not going to have those carbohydrates that are going to affect you through the diet process. Of course, if you do have an issue, always best to see a doctor, have those cholesterol levels checked, and you can have them checked throughout the diet as well, before, during, and after your 8 to 12 week or 10 week block. Have those levels checked, just so they're not entering into dangerous levels. And with my own experience, hey, my cholesterol changed a little bit over the 10 weeks. Wasn't a massive issue. And after a month off that diet, and I just simply followed a similar sort of diet and just added back in a few carbohydrates that I like. Still committed to periods of time, intermittent fast, and my cholesterol levels reduced back into the normal range within a month. Now, there's this one, the final one, guys, motivation. It keeps you motivated. Simply because when you, especially at the beginning, when you start a ketogenic diet like the carnivore diet, you don't have the carbohydrates in your system. You don't have glycogen stores in your system because you're using all of it in the first few days because you're not eating any more carbohydrates. What happens is your body is going to get rid of stored water. Your body stores water with the carbohydrates that you've eaten. Within the first 1 or 2 weeks, you're going to drop about 2 or 3 kilos, pure them just in water storage. So when you look at that, you think, holy crap, yeah, I'm on the right track, and you're going to feel lighter, your stomach's going to feel a little bit lighter. You're just going to feel better. And it gives you that motivation to continue through that diet, which is the most important thing when you are looking at dieting. And the reason people fail, guys, is they become unmotivated, especially when they're attaching, let's say, for example, running with their diet. All of a sudden, they're sick of running. They stop their diet, and that's a real problem. Motivation can just end at the sound of an alarm clock at 6 a.m. It can end with someone giving you a phone call saying, "Hey, we're going out tonight." All of a sudden, you've had 3,000 calories, and you think it's all over. It's not all over. You just simply refocus the next day. And then if you start losing your shit, and you need to have some carbohydrates, have a carb day, guys. It's not gonna end your progress. It's just simply the next day you're just gonna refocus, because nobody's perfect. I've done 10 kilos in 10 weeks, 8 different ways, 8 times. Hey, every single time, including on the carnivore diet, I've snapped it, and I've just got to have something, and I'll have it, and then it's all over, and then I'm good to go for another week or sometimes 2 weeks. It's like, okay, I just need to have something, whether it's a little bit of fruit or yogurt at night time. Okay, I'll have it. Guess what? Still lost my 10 kilos in 10 weeks because I didn't give up, guys. As it's all about consistency. Consistency is everything. If you do the right thing 90% of the time, and that means you've got your 10-week block, you've got your calorie restricted diet, which is a deficit of around about, say, 3,000 calories a week, which is getting rid of almost half a kilo of weight of fat per week. You're doing your 10,000 steps a day, at least sort of 6 days a week. There's another quarter of a kilo. So now you're at 3/4 of a kilo. And then the rest comes down to you going to the gym, smashing out some resistance exercise, right? Do that, and you're at a kilo a week, each and every week. And if you're doing it 90% of the time, hey, you're going to get it. It might not be 10 kilos, but hey, 8 kilos. It's a hell of a lot better than where you started 10 weeks ago. And then you go into maintenance after that 10-week block, and you will maintain your 8 kilos. Now, you might, if you start eating carbs again, you might put on 1 or 2% in regards to stored water. Water storage happens when you have carbohydrates, but really, someone might say it's 100 kilos. I go down to 100. I sit at 101 through my maintenance period, 101 and a half, simply because I'm having carbohydrates within my diet. But I maintain that weight for my 8 weeks. And then from there, another weight loss block to get down even further. Because remember, guys, when you're in a diet, your metabolic rate, regardless if you're having maintenance stays through it, your metabolic rate will drop. And there's virtually no way around that. And that's where we go have a diet for a set period of time, and then we go into maintenance to maintain it. And that recovers our metabolism, and it basically gives our system a rest from those stresses of dieting. Because your body doesn't want to lose fat, guys. It'll do everything that it can to stop you losing fat, and it will tell you that it's hungry. It will give you mind games. You'll try and justify stuff that you're gonna eat. Oh, it's okay. Your body is telling your mind to try and trick you, and that's what you've got to get through when you're in a diet period. So, motivation. You've got to be motivated. You've got to be driven to complete that 10 weeks at the highest amount of consistency possible. I hope that helps, guys. Now, remember, stay committed, do the work, get rid of that 10 kilos or 10% in that 10-week period.
Charles, Sean here. A lot of you are sending messages via the comments saying that you need help with your weight loss. Do me a favor, if you could send me a text, which is the best way to get a hold of me, on 0491 932 525. And again, 0491 932 525. Thanks heaps, guys. I'll help you with whatever you need.